What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new up in this place, my name is Ntwanie Ngomane, and if you're coming back, thank you so much, Notification Gang, for tuning back in. I'm holding the camera right now, and please don't mind my background today. You know, my kitchen is a bit messy. I just came back from the grocery store to get a few of my groceries for the week. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna put you guys down and then we're gonna get into today's video. Yeah, let me put something on my lips and then we'll sit down. Okay, we're down. Once again, don't mind my background, it's a bit messy today, but anyway, we are, like, I've checked numbers of subscribers on the channel and we are about 1,500 subscribers. So if you're watching this video and you have not subscribed, guys, please go and click on the subscribe button. It is absolutely free to subscribe. If you've subscribed already, thank you so much. Anyway, let's go on to today's video. So basically today I want to talk about or maybe not even talk about it. I want to discuss it with you because you guys are going to be commenting in the comment section and you're going to be telling me what you think, right? You may not be there yet, especially if you're still a student, but if you're a student who is also working at the same time, you may have been exposed to this. So there are basically two things that I'm going to address on this video. The first thing is how to sort of juggle the work and the life balance type of thing. I got a question on this. And then the second thing is, what advice would I give to my first year self, right? Or to somebody who's doing first year in articles, basically, in terms of work and in terms of relationships with managers. And you know, managers overworking you, your third year or your AIC is just dumping work on you. Sometimes you don't get coaching, sometimes you're treated unfairly. As a first year, sometimes you're given a lot of work that you can't do. Sometimes you're expected to manage a whole file by yourself. So we're going to talk about all of that today. I hope you guys enjoy this video. And yeah, so the first thing, right, the first thing that maybe let's put out there is the fact that the workspace is very different from when you start studying. So in the workspace, there are expectations that you need to meet, especially coming in from first year. You know, like, you need to be at a certain level of knowledge, at a certain level of competence and ability. But sometimes seniors, third years, second years, managers can take advantage of that and end up overworking you. So the first thing that I've learned through the past 6 months in training, and maybe through other people who I've spoken to and have shared the same sentiments as I do, is the fact that you are expected to do your work at a certain basic level as a first year. Remember, you don't know how to audit. Remember, you've probably never even seen some of the documents that you're going to see for the first time. You don't even know what's happening with the client. You will be very lucky if you know the in-depth of what your client does in first year, right? So you can't, there are certain sections in the audit file that you can't do in first year. Unless you have a coaching of a second year, third year, or a manager, you really can't do it yourself. So how do you sort of balance this and sort of, you know, don't take on more work than you need to? The first thing is you need to speak to your second year and your AIC and your manager. If your AIC, the AIC is basically the auditor in charge, and it's normally the third year trainee on the job, right? So if your AIC is giving you work that you see that I can't do this work because I don't know how to do it, you need to speak up. The number one thing is, no one is going to speak up for you if you don't speak up for yourself. The second year is not going to step in and be like, yo, but dude, the first year has too much work, the first year can't do this. You need to step up and you need to say, you know what, I see what you're giving me. It's a little bit over, you know, my pay grade. I don't know what's really happening here. Please, if I'm going to do this, you're going to need to guide me through it and you're going to need to help me. The second thing is, don't accept work when you already have your own work which you're not done with. And this, it's going to carry you throughout the 3 years. Number one, if you have work that was allocated to you on the file and you're doing that Focus on finishing your part of the work first before you accept work from other people and before you accept to help other people with their section. How does this help you? One, it helps you manage your time. So if you get a section and you see that you're going to complete that section within the 2 weeks, or within a 2-week period, if you're taking on more work, that means you're going to need more time, and now it's interfering with your deadline. When the manager comes on the job, they're going to ask you, why didn't you complete your work? And what are you going to say? You didn't complete your work because you took another person's work. That means their work is done, but your work is still outstanding. So you kind of look incompetent in your work, you know? So first finish your work, and then you can offer help to other people. The second thing, if you're accepting work that you know you can't do, or you know you've never done before, you need to tell the person to guide you through it. Don't just blatantly accept work and you think you're gonna figure it out. These things are such complex issues sometimes. You think PPE is very easy. I'll just get the fixed asset register and maybe just compare the asset serial number and whatnot to what's on the ground. It's not always black and white, guys. Like, you may have a machine that is on the fixed asset register, but you go onto the ground and it's very old and you can't even see the serial number. It doesn't even have anything to identify it, and you have to go back and forth with the client and trying to solve that. So if you see that there's something, you're being given work that you can't do, maybe try tell that person to guide you through the work, and maybe try tell them to help you through it, because it's no use for you to sit there with work that you can't do and you still have your own work. Now let's address the issue where the manager now hands you a file that you have to do on your own. You're in first year, you have no experience, you've never done a file on your own. In most cases, when that happens, it will be a very, very small file. So from my experience, a first year will not be given a file to do by themselves if it's a big client and it's a big file and there's a lot of things going on in the client. Normally you will get this smaller file. So basically what a smaller file would be is, say for example, you have a company, you have ABC Limited or PTY Ltd, and then ABC has a subsidiary. It has a subsidiary and in which it holds maybe 51%. The subsidiary has another associate, or it has another company that it holds. As a first year, you're probably going to get to do the company that is held by the subsidiary of the holding company, because that would be a very small file. So it won't need a lot of attention. It won't have any complex issues. So as a first year sharp, you can get onto it, and this builds your confidence because you've seen the file from step 1 or from section 1 all the way up until section 6, depending on how big your file is. So if you're in first year, you're probably going to get those smaller files, but on the bigger files, you're only going to get a section of that file. If a manager is probably giving you a big file to do in first year, something is off or something is wrong. Because in first year, you hardly you don't know these things and you don't know how to audit. So imagine having the whole for instance, the whole Barclays file to do. It doesn't make sense, right? So another thing is how managers, or let me say seniors even, treat you on an audit. Sometimes people can be unfair, and unfortunately it is our kind that are unfair to the same kind of people on the job, if you get what I'm saying. So I've had I haven't really had a one-on-one type of conflict with a manager or a senior, but I know it has happened to so many people. So many of my friends speak about these things, and dude, managers, especially managers of our color, will treat you some type of way on a client, or will treat you some type of way on an audit as compared to their white counterparts. I don't know, but for me, I work mostly with white managers, if I can put it that way. And they're really helpful. I haven't had an experience where I've been treated unfairly, or I've not been given a job simply because they think I'm not capable. So I've had an opportunity to sort of work on bigger sections, even in first year, even in second year. So I know though that it happens on other clients and probably happens in other firms. I think, injustice is everywhere, especially in corporate. Like, we trainees don't really, especially if you're a black trainee and you're in a white dominated entity, it's gonna be very hard to sort of get the competencies that you need and to step up the ladder. You need to sort of fight for it, especially if it's very white dominated. If it's, yeah, you will have to sort of fight for it. So like, it's not a black and white type of thing, because even if you get into an entity where there are black managers, there are black partners, they still treat you unfairly. It is mostly the black seniors in corporate that will treat you so unfairly. You don't believe, you guys, we are from like, you should understand my background, like, we come from the same walk of life, and this is how you treat us on a job. Like, it happens, unfortunately. And companies do try to sort of balance out the scale with the BEE and stuff, bringing on more black managers, more female managers, black female, that is. And it's the scale is sort of tipping up, but at the same time it is quite awful how some of our own black managers and our own black senior trainees treat younger trainees. And it's always a surprise to me, because how do you treat someone like this if you've also been in their shoes? You also started as a trainee. There was a point where you didn't know anything. There was a point where someone was holding your hand and showing you the way, but when someone else needs you to do that, you can't offer the same services. You know what I mean? But yeah, I haven't personally had an experience like that. I have, though, had an experience with a financial manager of a client where I was treated unfairly. But I don't think it was because of my color or anything. It was that, when you walk into a client on your first day, or maybe your first week, especially in first year, the financial manager already knows that you don't know much. The financial manager is aware that as a first year trainee, there's not much there's not much you can do on the file. Everyone is just holding your hand at this point. You can't even speak up. So they know those things. And unfortunately, I was one of the people who was taken advantage of by the financial manager of the said client, because I was in first year, and I was vulnerable and naive, and I didn't know any better. So there was a section that I was supposed to speak to him about, or maybe like try to solve a section of the work with him, and he blatantly said to me, I can't deal with you, I need someone who's more senior to talk through this. And it wasn't anything difficult. It wasn't anything that a first year couldn't do, but because he already had the mindset that a first year cannot be asking this, or a first year cannot do this type of work. So if you're coming to me and you're a first year, I am not gonna talk to you. I want to talk to somebody who is more senior on the audit. So yeah, I love to work to somebody who's more senior, and they took it to him and it got solved. So I was sort of treated unfairly in that manner because I was in first year and I didn't know any better, or he expected me not to know what I was talking about, but in fact I actually did. I just wasn't given the opportunity and the time to sort of explain what I wanted from him, because on the onset I was told that I'm in first year and I'm inexperienced, and so I can't solve. So these things happen, guys, and it's just, you need to talk to your manager about it, especially if the client is treating you unfairly, because I know such things happen. I know some of my friends have also been subjected to racial discriminations by some people. We just need to speak up about it, and especially South Africa corporate, it's a lot. It's happening quite a lot. But also companies are also doing the best that they can to avoid such situations and to resolve them. So if it does happen to you, maybe just speak to your manager about it. If you know it's coming from someone senior on the audit, maybe see if you can take it to the partner, the HR partner. I know companies have these processes where if you have a problem with someone, you can take it to the maybe the AIC or the 30 on the job. If it's not solved, to the manager. If not, to the partner. If not, to HR. So maybe try follow that route. I know they're doing all they can to sort of, bring these injustices to end, but unfortunately we don't live in a perfect world, right? So that was just part one of this video. The second part to this video is, now you're in first year and you have a lot of work that you're doing, and you somehow cannot find the balance between your work and your life, right? As you know it from university, you had a lot of time, you could do a lot of things, but now all of a sudden all you do is wake up, work, eat and sleep, right? So how do you sort of solve that? The one thing that helped me in first year especially was the fact that I didn't bring my work home. So it was easier then because we were still going to the client compared to now when we're working from home. Then we're still going to the client. So what I would do is I would get to the client and I would work my normal 7.5 hours, and then when I knock off, the time I knock off, I close my laptop off, and that's it for the day. When I drive back and I get to my place, I am not opening my laptop for work. If I'm opening my laptop, it's for something else, maybe to study or maybe to do something else, but it's not to work. So I try separate my work and leave it at the office. And when I get home, my personal life must start, my me time must start. So maybe that's one of the things that you should try doing that. Also, another thing that helps is only accepting work that you have time to do. And I think I've already addressed this in the earlier part of the video. Only accept work for which you're able to do. How does this help you? Like, it frees up your time, guys. If your work, you see that you can complete your work in a week, then in that week you're able to work a normal 7.5 or 8 hours, right? But if you're taking on somebody else's work or extra work, then you're gonna have to stretch out your day, and that means your work is now eating into your personal life. So the one thing that lockdown has brought into my life, and I'm so grateful for it, is that it's awarded me the opportunity to control my work-life balance. Because if you're going to the client, you hardly ever have control. Why? Because the manager is there. You don't just knock off when you feel like it. You don't just at 4:30 or 5 start packing your bags. If you're not working, you probably think, why not? You can just pick up your bag and leave. But if you're working, you know what I'm talking about. So you can't just pick up and leave. You need to wait for the manager. The manager's like, okay, guys, we can go. Or the manager's like, oh, guys, can we work a little bit of overtime? And sometimes overtime is unplanned. You just get to the client at 4:30. The manager's like, okay, guys, by the way, we're working 2 extra hours today. And, your life is being eaten away like that. So lockdown has sort of eliminated that for me. And it's allowed me to start work at 8 and end work at 4:30 if I want to. Sometimes I do work overtime, personally, just a personal preference. If, say, for example, for that day, I feel like there's a lot that I want to do and maybe I couldn't do everything that I wanted within the normal workday hours, then I put in maybe an extra hour from 6 to 7 or something like that. So lockdown has been great for me, and yeah, it's allowed me to do that, and also allowed me to spend a lot of time with my family. I've been home for like most of the time, and I've been working from there, and I've been interacting with everyone at home, and it's been great. So yeah, those are my advices, guys. This video is already so long and I apologize for it, but if you've gotten this far, comment down below and let me know what do you think about this. What do you think about the injustices in corporate? I challenge you maybe to say, how can we try and resolve this, especially as young professionals who are starting out in corporate? We're going to still see a lot of these things, although processes are being put in place to try and eliminate it, but it's still something that's still going to go on for a while. Just as things like gender-based violence, there are already so many processes in place to try and eliminate it, but it's still going on. So I think let's have a conversation. What do you think about this? Have you experienced any type of injustice in your workplace, maybe in your clients or whatever? Please Remember, don't put down any names of any companies, any names of any person. We are just here to have a conversation and to see if we can ever even resolve these issues. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.